Feldman Ornato.
I'm slumped down in the back seat of a late model Chevy Chevette that's really grimy. There are rolls of blueprints on the floor underneath my feet and a yellow hard hat sitting on the bench next to me. And my face is completely sticky. As I stand up a little, sit up a little taller, I look out the window to my right and I see a circle of men standing about 15 feet away from the car, holding blueprints between them and alternately looking at each other, at the blueprints, at the bridge nearby, and over at the car. And I realize in that moment that I'm on the wrong side of the glass. I'm filled with shame as I realize what has happened. It's 1985, and I'm working as the assistant city planner in Westfield, Massachusetts. It's my first real job after graduate school, and it has been such a huge uphill climb in terms of the learning curve, because I was an urban planning major, and this is a suburban community. So I am now tossed into the ring to regulate subdivisions and strip shopping malls. Great, right? And it's exciting, and I actually do love it, because I am learning every single day. I'm learning about zoning ordinances and variances, and I'm meeting with developers and construction people and engineers. And it's a huge step into professional life with no entrance ramp. Lucky for me, I work with amazing people. My boss, Jim Boardman, is this roly-poly Irish guy who loves to mentor and has a huge amount of patience. So I'm really fortunate, because every time I have a question, I just walk into his office and sit down, and he always makes time for me. Then there's this guy, Joe Piscatelli. He manages the community development block grants. I have no idea what Joe does. He comes in every day at like 9:30. He goes out for lunch at 12, he's back at 1, and he leaves at 3:30. Again, I have no idea what Joe does. And then there's Ellie. She's the gatekeeper. She's the administrative assistant. Back then we called her a secretary. And Ellie is feisty, right? She's Greek goddess, and she's got this long, wavy black hair. And she dresses with baubles and bangles and beads, and every day her clothing choices dance right on the edge of the dress code at City Hall. Right? She struts her stuff through those halls in 4-inch heels, going click, clack on the marble hallways, and everybody adores her. She calls everybody honey and sweetheart. And when developers walk into our office, if she doesn't like them, they don't get to see Jim. So everybody's nice to Ellie. And she's my friend. And I adore her. And I don't get to be like Ellie in City Hall, because I'm 25 years old, I'm petite, I'm blonde, and I'm attractive. And that does not work well when you're in the world of men. Engineers, architects, developers, attorneys. So I make a conscious decision to dress really the opposite end of the spectrum from Ellie. Think like Talbots spread all over me, right? I've got jackets, and I've got silk blouses up to here, and I wear pants that never really fit me well, kind of baggy in the butt, because I don't want to draw attention to any of the curves I have and have it somehow detract from the fact that I'm 25 and relatively inexperienced. So one morning, Jim walks into my office, and he says, all right, you're ready for this. There's a meeting tomorrow morning under the bridge abutment on Route 10. We're finally going to replace that bridge. And I'm like, oh, thank God, because people keep calling us about the chunks of stuff that are falling out off of the bridge and onto their cars. We're like, that's a public health hazard, and we can't close it because it's a main thoroughfare. He said, your only job at this meeting is to express concern for keeping 2 way traffic going because there are some merchants along that strip that are barely surviving, and you really need to just make sure the traffic flow is good. That's all you need to do. The rest of it you're not going to understand. Cool. I have something to do that's really important. So the next morning when I wake up and I make a conscious decision what to wear, I decide to dress for success. I scan my clothing and I pick out the blue pinstripe suit that I wore when I applied for that job in the planning department. It's perfect. It's polyester. And I put on a silk blouse to go with it, a tan one, subtle. And then I put on pantyhose under my slacks so that I had no bumps. And short navy blue patent leather pumps. I look good. I look kind of like a stewardess, but I look good. Check my hair one last time and head out for the meeting. I go straight to the job site, and it's around 11 o'clock in the morning, and it's 90 degrees out. So I step out of the car and I walk over to the circle of men that are already starting to gather, and Al from engineering goes, "Hey, Ellen," he introduces me to everybody, validates my presence there, says she's our new assistant city planner, she's super smart, take your hard hat. He hands me a hard hat, I look at it twice, think about, ooh, who else wore this, and stuff it on my head, and join the circle of men. All men, wearing short sleeve shirts and khaki pants, and LL Bean boots, and I'm there in my little pumps and my suit. And it's all good, because I feel okay about being there and dressed professionally. So they start talking, and as Jim predicted, it's like wah, 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 tension, wah, 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 foundations, wah, wah, wah. I don't understand a word they're saying. But I have another distraction besides my challenges with tracking with the conversation, and that is that I am hermetically sealed in plastic. Yeah, sounds great, right? Because that hard hat that I'm wearing sealed the deal. There's very little of me that's exposed that isn't encased in plastic, and that part is facing the sun. In case you hadn't noticed, I'm kind of fair, so the whole sun thing is also not so great for me. So I'm noticing as I'm standing there with a wah, wah, wah going on that I have driplets of sweat running down my back, into my underwear, down the back of my pantyhose. I get some going on down the sides. I'm like wiping under the edges of my glasses and my nose, and I'm doing this and wah, wah, wah. And then I remember saying to Al, I don't feel very well. And now I'm in a car, staring out at the people who must have caught me when I fell, must have picked me up and carried me to the car, must have stuffed me in this stinky Chevy Chevette, and turned on the AC, and gone back to their damn meeting. Hello, the girl just passed out in the middle of the bridge meeting, and you just stuff her in a car and keep going? Seriously? Thanks for caring. But now I'm in the car and I have to get out because the meeting is breaking up. I open up the door and I slink out. I hand the hard hat back to the guys and go, "Thanks for helping me." And I get in my car and I drive back to City Hall, and really what I want to do is go home. I do not want to go back to my office. Fortunately, there are no cell phones back then. And I know that Al from the engineering department wouldn't climb the 3 flights of stairs to the city planning department just to tell them what happened, because he was just not that kind of guy. So I had the first opportunity to break the news. So I climbed those 3 flights of stairs, which felt like 50, dreading walking in that office. And as soon as I walked through the threshold, Ellie looked up, she goes, "Hey, doll, what the hell happened to you?" I mean, I had looked in the rearview mirror, but my mascara was like, you know. And my hair was completely plastered to my head, and I now had caked, dried sweat all over me, and my clothes were all stuck to me. And she looked at me, she's like, "Are you okay?" And And then to add insult to injury, I did the next worst thing. I burst out crying, like blubbering, crying, sobbing, snot bubbles, you name it. I had lost it. And Jim comes running out of the office and he's like, "What happened to you?" I said, I started to tell him, and then I couldn't get the words out. And Allie said, "She passed out in front of a whole group of engineers from DOT. Isn't that hilarious?" And I looked at her horrified, because I wasn't thinking it was funny. I was thinking it was career ending. I was so worried that I would be fired. And Jim, he calmed me down. He's like, everybody makes mistakes. And they were fine. And then they burst out laughing, both of them. Once they knew that I wasn't going to die, right? And I knew I was going to lose my job, they were like, "That is the funniest damn story. Who picked you up and carried you to the car?" About a week later, I took a trip to Goodwill and I ditched that freaking suit. I made a conscious decision that day that I was going to be more of who I was, and definitely not Talbot's. Thank you.